Somebody recently asked me, said, Joe, is it possible to set goals with artificial intelligence? And I say, yes, it is very possible to set goals with artificial intelligence. You just have to understand the step by step process to do this properly. The first step is purpose, the second step is planning, and the third step is performing. Artificial intelligence won't know what goals you need to set unless you give it some actual training on who you are. But figuring out who you are and writing that out is a task in and of itself. So if you just go to AI and say, "Who am I?" It's going to be like, "I don't know. Who are you?" It's not gonna give you the info. You got to give it a proper training and a proper prompt. And then what you need to do is you need to install that prompt in a way that it remembers you over and over, and it knows, okay, so what does it mean? Who am I? How do we even know who am I? Before you even plan, you have to have a foundation for planning. I call that foundation purpose. What is your purpose? Someone once asked me, said, Joe, does everything happen for a purpose? I said, you get to decide if everything happens for a purpose, and you get to decide your own purpose as well. Now, if you decide that everything doesn't happen for a purpose and life is random, that's something that you decided as well, correct? And that means that you're kind of like a victim to circumstance. That's a paradigm. That's a belief. We have the opportunity to be able to shape all of our beliefs. But most of us don't even know what our beliefs are. We just have them, but we haven't analyzed them. So, how do you analyze your beliefs? How do you even begin to do this? Well, the first way to analyze your beliefs is to figure out your environment and what's going on around you. Because often the results you have in your life, or the lack of results that you have in your life, have to do with the beliefs that you have, because your beliefs are what is shaping your action of whether or not you're going to do things or not do things. I did a goal setting masterclass yesterday. I'm going to do a 3-hour goal setting masterclass next Monday. I did a 90-minute session yesterday with a group of 88 people, and it was just fantastic. 90 minutes of just pure goal setting tips the entire time. And if you want to watch that, just say, Joe, send me the replay of the 90-minute class you did on December 22nd. I have it available online. I put the replay up online. So if you want it, I'm more than happy to send it to you. I'm also going to be discussing this for 3 hours on Monday, December 29th, before the end of the new year, to talk about how do we figure out, how do we create a foundation. Now, if you can train artificial intelligence about all of your beliefs, you essentially can clone yourself. I want you to think about that for a second, because who are you? You're just a set of beliefs. You're a set of programming, a set of rules. Isn't that what you are? Aren't you a bunch of different beliefs? Now, if I believed that it wasn't appropriate to sit in my car and do a LinkedIn Live and a Facebook Live and a YouTube Live and a Twitter Live, if it wasn't appropriate, would I have taken this action now and been in front of you right now? Yes or no? Let me know in the bottom. Let me know in the chat. If I believed that if I only had one person watching this, that it wouldn't be worth it for me to do this, would I have actually done it? Even though maybe only one person will watch it, or maybe nobody will watch it? So for me, I have a belief system that it's more about me expressing and sharing rather than how many people are receiving. Because I'm not doing this to feel important. I'm doing this knowing that I can make an impact for you and only you, because you're the only one watching this. I'm only talking to you. There could be 1,000 people that are going to see this, but I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to you. And if you want to get more results in your life, you must take more action. Action is the only thing that creates results. And the thing that creates action is usually beliefs. That's what it usually is. And also not just beliefs that you're not aware of, but beliefs that you become aware of, and then beliefs that you temporarily take on. You can take on some temporary beliefs that will allow you to take action in the moment when you get motivated, when you get inspired. And maybe they're not your permanent beliefs, but you can take them on for a short period of time to start taking different actions. Because if you keep getting the same results in your life, it's because you're taking the same actions. And if you take the same actions and you do the same thing over and over and over, and you expect different results, I think it was Albert Einstein that said, that's called cuckoo-ness. That's called insanity. He didn't say cuckoo-ness. It's not a technical term, but he calls that insanity. It's the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over and over and expect different results. If you're not getting results from what you want in life, you got to change your action. In order to change your action, you might have to change your beliefs, or you might have to take on some temporary beliefs by changing your environment and changing your state and hanging around other people and literally borrowing their beliefs to try them on, because they say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So you got to be really careful with who you're spending time with. You got to be really careful who you're hanging out with. You got to be really careful what you're listening to, because what you're listening to becomes part of your thoughts. And your beliefs are essentially just thoughts that just keep repeating themselves over and over and over. You have memories, you have thoughts, you have passions, you have values, you have needs, you have desires, you have feelings. If you can understand what these are predominantly for you and what they mean for you, and then what stories you're telling yourself about them that created the beliefs to begin with. See, something happened in our life, and then we told ourselves a story of what that meant. Most of the story is a lie, by the way, it's just made up. And most of the stories that we have in our life, we've adopted when we were 9, when we were 16, when we were 21. And then we just keep living the rest of our life based on those stories that we've told ourselves that are important and that are true. The truth is, you can change the story, the narrative in your head. You can change the perspective. And if you modify and transform that perspective and that narrative, you can often also change the beliefs. Maybe not the convictions that you have. So understanding what is an opinion, what is a belief, what is a conviction is extremely important. And having this conversation, this dialogue, and creating those distinctions in your life can truly optimize the level of action that you're taking. And if you optimize the level of action that you're taking and it aligns with what you want to achieve in your life, the chances of you achieving those things is much, much higher. Whether it's in business, making money, whether it's in relationships, or whether it's in health. You know, if you're going to do push-ups, you're going to get stronger. But a woman yesterday told me, she said, my shoulder hurts, my shoulder's injured, I can't do push-ups. So I said, is that a fact? And she's like, that's 100% a fact. I said, can you do wall push-ups? She's like, yeah, I can do wall push-ups. So I said, was it a fact that you couldn't do push-ups? Or was it a fact that you have pain when you do push-ups on the floor and you're not thinking about that belief that you have, and the belief went from the fact of I can't do push-ups on the floor because I'm afraid I'm going to get injured to I can't do push-ups. You understand the difference between those two beliefs? The same thing when it comes to money. There was a guy that I was talking to yesterday. He said, my health is great, my relationships are great, my kids are great, my spirituality is great, but the money that I have, it's not good. I said, why do you think that's the case? He's like, I don't know. I said, do you think maybe you're unlucky? He's like, yeah, I was thinking that. I said, you weren't just thinking that. You were creating that. You were believing that. And as a result, if you think you're not lucky, you're not going to take action because you're not going to take risks. If you think the risks are unlucky, what do you think is going to happen? You're not going to take those risks. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to tag someone in one of these posts, someone that needs to see this, or send it to them. Because these 10 minutes can change their life, can change your trajectory of somebody's life if they see it. So take a moment and share it. Take a moment and like it. Take a moment and leave a comment. Just say amen if you believe in this, or say I agree, or say I love this, or say thank you for sharing. Express yourself. Put yourself out there. You never know who's going to see your comment and want to connect with you. You never know who you're going to inspire. You never know who's going to see that you engaged and it took their life to the next level. So this year, I want to encourage you to take the time to change your life. I have a class starting on Monday at 2 p.m. It's a 3-hour class, and that's just the beginning. And we're going to uncover how to come up with your purpose, which means what are your values? What are your agreements? What is your vision? What is your why? What are the roles you have in your life? How do you tie those roles to the goals? What are the roles that you're not even noticing and that you're ignoring and you have some lack of integrity? What does integrity even mean? We're going to cover all those things in 3 hours. And it's really going to change the game for many of you. We're going to understand our brain dump process and how to get out of your head. We're going to understand how to start planning properly based on your purpose, not based on your needs. We're going to understand how to align ourselves with our highest self and be able to live in a state of vibration that's at the highest level, the level of gratitude, the level of joy. We're going to understand that, how that works, and why we've been operating at a lower vibration and we haven't been able to get the results we want in life. If you're not getting results and you're not taking actions, it's the level that you're vibrating at that's stopping you and keeping you in your current identity and your current ego. You have to transform out of your current identity, out of your current ego, if you don't want to keep doing the same things over and over, or you don't want things. You don't want to be stopped from taking the right actions. Often it is our fear of judgment that stops us from connection, that stops us from achievement, that stops us from action. I want you to get over those fears. I want you to look at them and laugh at them and forgive yourself for the past. The past doesn't exist. Only the present exists. Only the now exists. And now is the time that you need to set those goals. Now is the time that we need to connect and find other people that are willing to connect and build relationships. And my goal is to have 12 people. And we're going to have 12 people. And maybe you can be one of them. We already sold out, by the way. But if you fill out the form at strategy.eviai.com/goal setting and you have a compelling reason that you want to do it, maybe we'll open up a slot for you. Now, my assistant is calling me, so I'm going to have to hop off this LinkedIn Live. But if you love this, give it a like and let me know that you saw this. I'd love to hear from you. Have a great day. God bless.